The massive ship appeared without warning. One moment, Earth's deep space monitors showed nothing unusual. The next, an enormous vessel hovered just beyond Mars, its metal skin gleaming under the distant sun. "Unknown craft detected," announced the automated system at United Earth Defense Headquarters. Director Jack West rushed to the control room, his face tight with worry. The tall, broad-shouldered man had spent 20 years preparing for this moment. First contact. Though in his nightmares, it never looked like this, a warship larger than any human vessel ever built. How did they get so close without detection? He demanded. Lisa Davis, head of monitoring systems, shook her head. "They have technology we don't understand, sir." They simply appeared. On the main screen, the alien vessel dwarfed the nearby research station on Phobos. Its shape reminded Jack of ancient predators, all sharp angles and threatening points. "They're broadcasting something," said Communications Officer Mark Green. "I think it's a message." The room fell silent as strange sounds filled the air. Clicks, humming tones, and mechanical sounds that no human throat could make. The computer worked for 3 minutes before words appeared on screen. "To the primitive species of the third planet, this is Admiral Drax of the Vexnar Imperial Fleet. Your system is now property of the Vexnar Empire. Surrender all military capabilities and prepare for integration into our labor force. You have 1 Earth rotation to comply. Resistance is futile and will result in planetary punishment." Jack read the message twice, then looked around the room at the shocked faces of Earth's defense team. "They clearly don't know much about us," he said finally. "Send our response." "Sir," Mark asked. "What response?" Jack smiled thinly. "Just 2 words. Go away." "Is that wise?" asked General Taylor, the military liaison. "They have technology far beyond ours." "Maybe," Jack said, "but they made a critical error. They threatened us before knowing what we're capable of." He turned to the tactical officer. "Activate Defense Protocol Omega and wake up the Ghost Fleet." On board the Vexnar command ship, Admiral Drax received Earth's response and laughed, showing rows of sharp teeth. The small blue planet had no idea what was coming. "Primitive species always resist," he told his second-in-command. "Send a single destroyer to their moon base. Show them our power." The destroyer broke formation, sleek and deadly, moving toward the Earth's moon. Its weapons charged, ready to turn the lunar colony into dust. But halfway there, something unexpected happened. Space itself seemed to ripple, and suddenly 6 black ships appeared around the destroyer. Ships that hadn't been there before. Ships that didn't show up on Vexnar sensors. "What is this?" Drax demanded, jumping from his command chair. "Where did they come from?" Before his crew could answer, the human vessels opened fire. Not with the primitive nuclear weapons the Vexnars expected, but with energy beams that cut through the destroyer's shields like they weren't there. The destroyer exploded in silent fire, its pieces scattering across space. For the first time in his long military career, Admiral Drax felt something close to fear. This was not how first contacts usually went. The database had classified Earth as pre-warp, barely space-capable. Yet they had just destroyed a modern Vexnar warship in seconds. "Send the full battle group," he ordered. "Destroy their orbital defenses." As the Vexnar fleet moved toward Earth, more human ships appeared, seemingly from nowhere. The planet's surface lit up with defense systems far more advanced than should have been possible. On Earth, Jack West watched the battle unfold on his screens. "Send the message," he ordered. Every Vexnar ship received the same transmission, an image of a smiling human face, followed by simple text. "Congratulations, you just declared war on the most lethal species alive. We've been waiting for someone to find us. You should have come in peace." The battle for Earth had begun. Admiral Drax paced the command deck of his flagship, anger radiating from him like heat. 3 days had passed since their first battle with the humans, and the Vexnar fleet had retreated to the outer edges of the solar system to regroup. "Impossible," he muttered. "Completely impossible." His second-in-command, Commander Kell, stood at attention nearby. "The humans have technology they should not possess," she said carefully. "Our intelligence was wrong." Drax slammed his fist against a control panel. "We have conquered 47 worlds. No species has ever defeated a Vexnar battle group. These humans are nothing. Primitive apes who only reached their moon a few generations ago." And yet, Kell said, "they destroyed 6 of our ships." The Admiral turned to the ship's data specialist, a small Vexnar named Trin. "Tell me everything about these humans. There must be something we missed." Trin's fingers moved quickly over the glowing screens. "Humans appear weak physically. No claws, no natural armor. Poor senses compared to us. But—" He paused, his eyes widening. "But what?" Drax demanded. "Their history is nothing but war," Trin said. "They have fought each other constantly, developing weapons and tactics at an alarming rate. And they adapt quickly. Very quickly." On Earth, Director Jack West met with his command team in the underground headquarters beneath the old city of Denver. The room buzzed with energy as officers reported on the battle's aftermath. "The aliens have pulled back past Neptune," General Taylor reported. "Our Ghost Fleet is tracking them, but staying hidden as ordered." Jack nodded. "What have we learned about them?" Lisa pointed to the main screen where images of the alien ships appeared. "They call themselves the Vexnar. Their technology is advanced, but not as adaptable as ours. They rely on brute force, big ships, powerful weapons. But they're slow to change tactics. That will be their downfall," Jack said. "They expect us to fight like they do, head on, following rules of engagement. That's not how humans wage war." Back on the Vexnar flagship, Admiral Drax finished reviewing the battle recordings. "Their ships appeared from nowhere," he said. "How?" Trin had been analyzing the data for hours. "Some kind of cloaking technology, combined with an unusual propulsion system. We cannot detect them until they want to be seen." Drax smiled coldly. "Then we will force them to show themselves." He turned to Commander Kell. "Prepare the fleet for a full assault. Target their population centers. If they want to protect their people, they will have to reveal their defenses." "This violates the Empire's rules of conquest," Kell said quietly. "I will not be defeated by primitives." Drax shouted. "The rules no longer apply." The Vexnar fleet moved toward Earth once more, this time splitting into smaller groups targeting major cities across the planet. But as they entered Earth's orbit, something unexpected happened again. The planet's oceans seemed to boil, and massive structures rose from the depths. Hidden bases that had been underwater for decades, waiting for this moment. From these bases launched hundreds of small, fast attack ships that swarmed the Vexnar vessels like angry insects. They were piloted by humans who had trained their entire lives for this day. In Denver, Jack West watched the battle unfold. "Now they'll understand what they're facing," he said grimly. General Taylor nodded. "Humans don't follow the rules when fighting for survival. We never have." As the battle raged above Earth, Admiral Drax received a transmission. On his screen appeared Jack West's face, calm and determined. "This is your final warning," the human said. "Leave our system now or face extinction. You thought you were declaring war on an easy target. Instead, you've awakened the most dangerous species in the galaxy." For the first time in his life, Admiral Drax wondered if he had made a terrible mistake. The small town of Riverdale had been peaceful before the invasion. Now it was the front line in humanity's fight for survival. Tom Miller watched from his hiding spot as alien soldiers patrolled the streets of what used to be his hometown. Tom had been a simple mechanic before the Vexnars came. Now he was a resistance leader, commanding 30 civilians who refused to surrender their home. "They're changing patrol patterns again," whispered Ellen, a former high school teacher who now served as Tom's second-in-command. "They're learning." Tom nodded. The Vexnars were adapting, but not fast enough. They still move in straight lines, follow schedules. They think like machines, not survivors. In the basement of an abandoned store, the rest of Tom's group prepared for tonight's mission. They had discovered that Vexnar communication devices emitted a frequency that could be tracked. It wasn't much, but it was something. "We hit the supply depot at midnight," Tom told them. "The aliens need water just like us. We poison this batch, and their whole northern command gets sick." One of the younger members looked worried. "Isn't that against war rules?" Tom's face hardened. "They bombed hospitals last week. There are no rules anymore." 500 miles away, in the underground research facility codenamed Prometheus, engineer Anna Bell worked without sleep. Around her, dozens of scientists studied captured Vexnar technology, taking it apart piece by piece. "They build everything like it's meant to last forever," Anna said, examining an alien power cell. "No planned obsolescence, no easy replacement parts." Dr. Mike Reed, the lead scientist, nodded. "Their entire culture is based on permanence and hierarchy. That's why they can't understand us." Anna held up the power cell. "This single unit contains enough energy to power a small city for a year. If we can replicate it, we could turn the tide." Mike finished. "Keep working." On the Vexnar command ship, Admiral Drax received a visitor. The tall, elegant figure of Ambassador Vorn moved gracefully onto the bridge, his ceremonial robes marking him as a direct representative of the Vexnar Emperor. "The Emperor is displeased," Vorn said without greeting. "This conquest should have been simple." Drax bowed his head. "The humans are unexpected. They fight differently." "Explain," demanded Vorn. "They do not fight for glory or territory," Drax said. "They fight like cornered animals. They use deception, traps, and tactics we consider dishonorable." Vorn's eyes narrowed. "The Emperor believes diplomatic measures may succeed where military might has faltered. I will speak to their leaders." The meeting was arranged in neutral territory, an abandoned space station orbiting Earth's moon. Director Jack West arrived with a small security team. Ambassador Vorn came with Commander Kell and 2 guards. "Your resistance is impressive but futile," Vorn began. "The Empire spans 1,000 worlds. You cannot win." Jack remained calm. "We're not trying to win. We're trying to survive. Your people attacked without provocation. You were to be conquered," Vorn said simply. "It is the natural order." "Not for humans," Jack replied. "We decide our own fate." Vorn leaned forward. "Submit now, and your species will be spared. Resist, and we will target your young. Your children will know suffering beyond imagination." The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Jack's face showed no emotion, but his eyes hardened into something ancient and dangerous. "That," he said quietly, "was your final mistake." He stood, towering over the seated ambassador. "We've been fighting with restraint, trying to minimize casualties on both sides. That ends today." Jack turned to leave, then paused at the door. "Go back to your Emperor and tell him exactly what I'm about to tell you. You just threatened the children of the most protective species on our planet. There will be no peace now, no surrender, no mercy." As the Earth shuttle departed, Commander Kell turned to Ambassador Vorn. "What did he mean?" Vorn looked troubled. "I believe we have made a terrible miscalculation. 6 months passed since the Vexnars threatened humanity's children. 6 months of relentless warfare across Earth and the solar system. 6 months during which humanity transformed itself into something the aliens could not have imagined." Anna Bell stood in her workshop, surrounded by strange hybrid technology. What had once been purely human or purely Vexnar now existed as something new, a fusion that took the best elements of both. She lifted a small weapon that hummed with power. "The prototypes are ready," she told Director Jack West as he entered the lab. "We've combined their energy cells with our targeting systems. Range is double what their weapons can do, and it bypasses their shields completely." Jack examined the weapon with tired eyes. The war had aged him. How soon can we get these to the front lines? Production started yesterday. Tom's resistance fighters will have them by tomorrow. Jack nodded. And the other project? Anna led him to a sealed chamber where a massive ship engine pulsed with blue light. We cracked their faster-than-light technology. But we improved it. Their ships need to drop out of FTL far from gravity wells. Ours won't. Which means we can appear right on top of them, Jack said with the first smile in weeks. Excellent work. On the frozen plains of what had once been Canada, Tom Miller and his resistance fighters moved through the night. What had started as 30 civilians had grown to thousands, spread across every Vexnar-occupied territory on Earth. Their base is just beyond that ridge, Tom whispered to his team. Remember, hit and run. Don't try to be heroes. Ellen checked her equipment. The new jammers Anna sent will block their communications for exactly 6 minutes. Tom nodded. More than enough time. When the attack came, the Vexnar soldiers were completely unprepared. Human fighters appeared from underground tunnels, their new weapons cutting through alien armor like paper. They targeted communications equipment and power supplies, then vanished back into the night before reinforcements arrived. Aboard the Vexnar flagship, Admiral Drax received the damage reports with growing rage. How do they keep adapting so quickly? He demanded. Every tactic we deploy, they counter within days. Commander Kell had developed a grudging respect for the humans. They evolved as pack hunters on a dangerous world, she explained. Their entire history is adapting to threats or being killed, and they share information instantly across their planet. Drax slammed his fist on the console. The Emperor has sent Grand Admiral Yorn to take command. We have one final chance to crush these humans before he arrives. What is your plan? Kell asked. We will use the planet itself against them, Drax said. Target their ocean with gravity weapons. Create waves that will drown their coastal cities. Kell looked shocked. That violates all military protocols. It would kill millions of non-combatants. I will not be remembered as the admiral who failed to conquer primitives, Drax shouted. What Drax didn't know was that a human spy device had been planted on his ship months ago. Every word was transmitted directly to Earth Defense Headquarters. Jack West called an emergency meeting. We need to evacuate the coasts immediately and prepare the Spear of Dawn. General Taylor looked concerned. The Spear isn't ready for deployment. We've never tested it in actual combat. We don't have a choice, Jack said grimly. If they attack our oceans, millions die. The Spear is our only weapon that can reach their command ship from here. As evacuation orders went out across Earth, Commander Kell made a decision that would change the course of the war. She secretly transmitted the details of Drax's plan to Earth, along with the flagship's shield frequencies. This is not honorable combat, she told her most trusted aide. The humans fight to survive. We fight for an emperor who has never seen battle. The Vexnar attack never came. Instead, Earth struck first. The Spear of Dawn, a massive orbiting weapon built from modified Vexnar technology, fired a single, devastatingly precise beam that cut through the flagship's shields as if they weren't there. Admiral Drax watched in horror as his ship began to break apart around him. His last thought before the explosion was a grudging respect for the species he had so fatally underestimated. The death of Admiral Drax should have been a turning point in the war. Instead, it only made things worse. Grand Admiral Yorn arrived with the largest Vexnar fleet ever assembled. 500 warships that darkened the space around Jupiter like a metal cloud. The Emperor is displeased, Yorn announced to his gathered commanders. This primitive species has caused unacceptable delays in our expansion. I will not make the same mistakes as Drax. Yorn was taller than most Vexnars, with battle scars covering half his face. Unlike Drax, he had no interest in honorable combat or military tradition. He cared only about results. Our new strategy is simple, he told them. Target their food production. Destroy their ability to feed themselves. Hungry humans will surrender where proud ones would not. Commander Kell, who had survived the destruction of Drax's flagship, spoke carefully. The humans have proven highly adaptable. Perhaps negotiation. Negotiation is weakness. Yorn slammed his fist down. You sound like you admire these creatures, Commander. Kel lowered her eyes. I respect a worthy enemy, Admiral. There are no worthy enemies, only future slaves, Yorn replied coldly. Prepare the atmospheric burners. On Earth, Jack West received the intelligence with growing dread. They're planning to burn our croplands from orbit, he told his war council. If they succeed, global famine will follow. Our orbital defenses can't cover every farm on Earth, General Taylor said. We need a new approach. Annabelle, now head of advanced weapons development, stepped forward. We've intercepted strange transmissions between the Vexnar fleet and something at the edge of our solar system. They're not alone out there. Jack frowned. Another enemy. I don't think so, Anna said. The transmissions show signs of encryption the Vexnars don't normally use. I think they're being spied on by someone else. 3 days later, a small, unfamiliar ship appeared in Earth orbit, somehow bypassing all human defenses. It transmitted a simple message. We need to talk. The visitor called herself Mira. She looked nothing like the Vexnars, smaller, with smooth blue skin and 4 arms. She met with Jack in the same moon base where Ambassador Vorn had threatened human children months ago. I represent the Meridian Alliance, Mira explained. 27 species who have suffered under Vexnar rule. We've been watching your resistance with great interest. Jack studied her carefully. Why reveal yourselves now? Because you've done what no one else could. You've hurt them, Mira said. For the first time, the Vexnar Empire is vulnerable. The Emperor has pulled fleets from our worlds to focus on Earth. You want us to join forces, Jack realized. Mira nodded. We can provide intelligence, technology, and support throughout their empire. In return, we need your fighting spirit. Your human approach to warfare. Back on the Vexnar command ship, Yorn prepared for his first major assault. But when the attack came, it wasn't from the Vexnars. Suddenly, ships of various designs appeared around his fleet. Meridian vessels, fighting alongside human craft. And leading the Meridian forces was Commander Kel, who had finally chosen a side. This is Commander Kel to all Vexnar ships, she broadcast. The Empire has lost its honor. I stand with the humans and the Meridian Alliance against tyranny. Yorn's rage could be heard throughout his ship. Traitor, he screamed. I will have your head mounted on the Emperor's palace. The battle that followed was unlike anything seen before in the galaxy. Human tactics combined with Meridian technology created chaos among the rigid Vexnar formations. For every Vexnar ship destroyed, 3 more took damage. On Earth, Tom Miller received new allies, Meridian fighters who joined his resistance groups. Together, they began liberating occupied territories. They fight differently than us, Tom told Ellen after their first joint mission. But they hate the Vexnars as much as we do. Ellen nodded. The enemy of my enemy is about to become the Emperor's worst nightmare, Tom finished with a grim smile. The massive Vexnar battleship, Emperor's Wrath, moved into position above Earth's atmosphere. Grand Admiral Yorn stood on the command deck, watching as the largest invasion fleet in Vexnar history assembled around him. 1,000 ships, gathered from across the Empire, prepared for the final assault on humanity. The Emperor himself watches today's battle, Yorn announced to his commanders. Our victory will be recorded in Imperial history for all time. The Emperor's hologram appeared beside him. A towering figure with ornate armor and cold, calculating eyes. This ends today, Admiral. I tire of hearing about human resistance. It will be done, Your Majesty. Yorn bowed deeply. Our new plasma cannons can penetrate their planetary shields. By nightfall, their major cities will be ash. What Yorn didn't know was that his communications were being monitored. Deep beneath Denver, Jack West listened to every word, his face grim but determined. They're coming with everything they have, he told the combined Human Meridian War Council. It's time for Operation Trojan Horse. Annabelle stepped forward. The infiltration teams are ready. Tom's group will lead the assault on the command ship. She activated a holographic display showing the Vexnar fleet. Meanwhile, our Ghost fleet will target these key vessels. Mira, the Meridian representative, nodded. Our ships are in position throughout the system. The Vexnars are focused entirely on Earth. They won't see us coming from behind. Jack looked at each face around the table. We've been planning this for months. Every simulation shows heavy losses on our side. But we'll win, General Taylor said firmly. That's what matters now. As the Vexnar fleet began its approach to Earth, something unexpected happened. Earth's defenses remained silent. No countermeasures launched, no shield barriers activated. They're surrendering? Yorn said in disbelief. No, Commander Kell said from the prison cell where she awaited execution for treason. They're letting you get closer. Suddenly, alarm signals blared across the command ship. Unknown energy signature inside the ship. A technician shouted. In the main cargo bay, Tom Miller and 20 human Meridian commandos materialized from what appeared to be standard supply containers. They had smuggled themselves aboard 3 days earlier, hidden by advanced stealth technology Anna had developed. Move fast, Tom ordered as they split into teams. We have 15 minutes until they lock down the ship. His team raced toward the engine room, while others headed for weapons control and the bridge. They encountered heavy resistance, but their hybrid weapons cut through Vexnar defenses easily. In space, the battle erupted as hundreds of hidden human and Meridian ships suddenly appeared, attacking the Vexnar fleet from all directions at once. The rigid Vexnar battle formations crumbled against the chaotic, unpredictable assault. On the command ship's bridge, Yorn received desperate reports from across the fleet. Impossible. Where did these ships come from? The Emperor's hologram flickered with rage. You assured me this planet was contained. They're everywhere, Yorn said in growing horror. They've adapted our own technology against us. In the engine room, Tom reached the main power core. He placed the special device Anna had built, a tiny ball of swirling energy that attached itself to the Vexnar systems. Package delivered, he reported through his comm. Get our people out. Across the Vexnar fleet, similar devices activated simultaneously. They didn't destroy the ships, they did something far worse. Every Vexnar system was suddenly rewritten, their weapons turning against each other, their engines shutting down. On the bridge, Yorn watched helplessly as his ship's controls stopped responding. The Emperor's hologram vanished as communications failed. The door to the bridge blasted open, and Tom Miller walked in with his team. Grand Admiral Yorn, he said calmly, Earth formally accepts your surrender. Yorn reached for his weapon, but found it wouldn't fire. Your technology belongs to us now, Tom explained. Your Empire's greatest mistake wasn't attacking Earth. It was teaching humans how your weapons work. As the largest space battle in galactic history ended, Jack West sent a simple message to all Vexnar ships. The war is over. Stand down and live, or continue fighting and be destroyed. Your Emperor has already fled the battlefield. Throughout the galaxy, news of the Vexnar defeat spread like wildfire. The most powerful empire in known space had finally met its match, on a small blue planet called Earth. 1 year after the Battle of Earth, the galaxy looked nothing like it had before. The once mighty Vexnar Empire had collapsed, its territories either freed or forming new alliances. In its place, a new organization had formed, the Galactic Cooperative, with Earth as a founding member. Jack West stood at the window of the new cooperative headquarters, built on what was once neutral territory. The space station orbited halfway between Earth and the nearest Meridian world, a symbol of their partnership. The last Vexnar loyalist outpost surrendered this morning, reported General Taylor, now gray-haired but standing tall. The war is officially over. Jack nodded. And the Emperor? Still hiding in the outer reaches, without his fleet, he's just another refugee. The door opened, and Mira entered with Commander Kell. The former Vexnar officer had become a vital bridge between cultures, helping former enemies understand each other. The rehabilitation program is working better than expected, Kell said. Most Vexnar soldiers are adapting to life without the Empire. They never knew another way to live until now. Jack turned from the window. And the new defense network. Mira activated a holographic display showing thousands of small satellites surrounding key worlds. Anna's design works perfectly. Any hostile force entering these systems will be detected immediately. Across the stars, the effects of humanity's victory rippled outward. On the former Vexnar colony world of Talax, Tom Miller trained a mixed group of human, Meridian, and even former Vexnar soldiers as peacekeepers. You must understand each other's strengths, he told them as they practiced. Humans adapt quickly but act on emotion. Meridians plan brilliantly but hesitate. Vexnars are disciplined but inflexible. Together, you're unbeatable. Ellen watched from nearby. You've become a good teacher, she said when the training ended. Tom smiled slightly. I never wanted to be a soldier. Now I'm making sure others don't have to be. In Earth's orbit, Annabelle oversaw the final construction of the new defense headquarters. Using combined technology from all member species, they had created something never seen before, a station that could detect threats from light years away. The quantum communication system is online, her assistant reported. We can now send messages instantly across the cooperative. Anna nodded with satisfaction. Send word to all member worlds. The shield is active. The former Grand Admiral Yorn sat in his cell, awaiting the judgment of the Cooperative Council. Jack West entered alone, surprising the prisoner. Come to gloat? Yorn asked bitterly. To understand, Jack replied. You could have conquered anything else in this galaxy. Why did you choose Earth? Yorn laughed hollowly. We didn't know. Our scouts reported a blue planet with primitive technology. How could we know you were? He stopped. The most lethal species alive. Jack finished. We had to be. Our planet tried to kill us for millions of years. Everything on Earth evolved to survive or die, including us. What happens to me now? Yorn asked. You help us understand how to prevent the next war, Jack said simply. Or you spend your life in this cell. Your choice. On the edge of explored space, a new ship approached the boundary of human territory. Its captain received an automated message that made him pause. Attention, unidentified vessel. You are entering space protected by the Galactic Cooperative. We offer friendship and trade to all peaceful travelers. Be advised that founding member Earth maintains a policy of immediate and overwhelming response to any hostile action. Please transmit peaceful intentions and prepare for standard greeting protocols. The captain looked at his first officer. Is it true what they say about these humans? The officer nodded seriously. Every word. The species that destroyed the Vexnar Empire in less than 2 Earth years. The archives say they were originally classified as harmless. As the ship continued forward, the captain made a decision. Open a channel. Transmit greetings and request permission to dock for trade. In Denver, at the original Earth Defense Headquarters, now a museum, a group of children stared at the famous display, the original message from Admiral Drax that had started the war. Why did they attack us? One child asked the guide. The guide, a veteran of the Resistance, smiled sadly. They saw our peaceful nature and thought it meant weakness. They never understood that humans can be both the most peaceful and the most dangerous species in the galaxy. On the wall behind her hung the now famous warning that traveled with every human ship. We come in peace. We prefer friendship. But remember what happened to those who chose war instead. Commander James Walker stood at the viewport of Lunar Outpost Alpha, staring at the blue marble of Earth hanging in the blackness of space. His weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass as he thought about humanity's long silence. For 5,000 years, Earth had maintained complete radio darkness to the rest of the galaxy. Commander, we've detected something unusual, said Lieutenant Davis, rushing into the observation deck. Her eyes were wide with concern. breaking the usual calm of their hidden base. Walker turned from the viewport. "Define unusual, Lieutenant." "A signal, sir, not from Earth. It broke through our detection grid at Sector 7. Walker's heart beat faster. In his 20 years of service at the outpost, nothing had ever penetrated their defensive systems. The lunar base served as humanity's silent guardian, watching the stars for any sign of the threat that had forced Earth into isolation millennia ago. "Show me," he ordered, following Davis to the command center. The command center buzzed with quiet activity as technicians monitored their stations. The large central display showed a pulsing light representing the incoming transmission. Walker approached the main console where Chief Communications Officer Ramirez worked frantically. "It's encrypted, sir, but not like anything in our databases," Ramirez explained. "And it's directed specifically at Earth." Walker frowned. "How did they find us? We've been silent for 5,000 years. "Unknown, sir, but the signal is repeating. Almost like a distress call." The United Council of Earth needed to know immediately. Walker pressed his palm against the secure communication panel, initiating the direct line to Earth that had only been used 3 times in the past century. "This is Lunar Commander Walker, authorization code Epsilon 7 Tango. We have a situation that requires immediate Council attention." Within an hour, the Council had convened in their underground chamber beneath the old city of Geneva. Walker's hologram stood in the center of their circular table as he explained the situation. After 5 millennia of silence, "Someone has found us," Walker concluded, "and they're asking for help." Councilor Martinez, the eldest member, shook her head. "The Great Silence was enacted for a reason, Commander. Our ancestors nearly faced extinction during first contact. We cannot risk exposing ourselves again." "With respect, Counselor," Walker replied. "Dr. Reed has been working on decoding the message. I believe you should hear what she's found." Dr. Eleanor Reed appeared beside Walker's hologram. Her usual calm demeanor seemed shaken. "Counselors," she began, "the message contains star charts, coordinates, and a language structure that shares roots with some of our most ancient texts. Whoever sent this knows us, or knew us long ago." "What are they saying?" asked Counselor Jones, leaning forward. "They call themselves the Ardani. Their message translates roughly to, 'Children of Earth, rememberers of old gifts, the darkness comes. We need your strength. Please answer.'" Silence fell over the council chamber. Humanity had hidden away after the disastrous first contact, developing in isolation, building their strength in secret, always watching the stars with wary eyes. "There's more," Dr. Reed continued. "The message includes images of their attackers." The hologram changed to show massive black ships with designs that made Walker's blood run cold. They matched the partial images from humanity's historical archives. The same threat their ancestors had barely survived. "The Void Empire," whispered Counselor Martinez. "They're still out there." Walker stood straight, his decision made before the council could debate further. 5,000 years ago, humanity ran and hid. We've been preparing ever since. Perhaps this is why. The council chamber erupted in argument. Some counseled continued silence, others suggested sending unmanned probes, and a few brave voices called for action. As the debate raged, Walker looked at the repeating distress signal, wondering if humanity was ready to break its silence. 5,000 years of preparation would soon be tested, whether the council wanted it or not. Dr. Eleanor Reed had not slept for 3 days. Her office in the underground complex beneath Geneva was filled with ancient texts, digital displays, and empty coffee cups. The Ardani message played on repeat, its strange tones and patterns now familiar to her ears. "I need more processing power," she told her assistant, Michael. "The language shares roots with Proto-Indo-European, but there are elements I've never seen before." Michael nodded and expanded her access to the quantum computing array. "The council is meeting again today. They want answers, Dr. Reed." Eleanor rubbed her tired eyes. "Then they better give me what I need." The quantum computers analyzed patterns in the Ardani language, comparing them to Earth's ancient texts. Eleanor had a theory that the Ardani had visited Earth thousands of years ago, before the Great Silence began. At 3:47 a.m., the computer chimed. "Match found," announced the system. Eleanor stared at the screen as ancient symbols from Sumerian tablets aligned perfectly with segments of the Ardani message. Her hands trembled as she typed in new parameters. "They were here," she whispered. "They came to Earth over 7,000 years ago." By morning, she stood before the United Council with her findings. The circular chamber was tense, the councilors' faces grave. "The Ardani are not strangers to us," Eleanor explained. "They visited Earth in our ancient past. They shared knowledge, helped build some of our earliest civilizations. The old gifts they mention in their message refer to technological and medical knowledge they gave our ancestors. If they were such friends, why did they leave?" asked Counselor Jones. Eleanor displayed a series of translated message fragments. "They left to protect us. The Void Empire was hunting them, and they drew away to keep Earth safe. Now, after thousands of years, the Void Empire has found them again." Commander Walker stepped forward. "The question remains, do we break our silence to help them?" "Breaking silence means revealing ourselves to the galaxy," warned Counselor Martinez. "To the Void Empire." Eleanor played the final decoded section of the message. A gentle, melodic voice filled the chamber. "Children of Earth, we gave you knowledge. We asked for nothing. Now we ask for help. The darkness consumes our worlds. Our children die. Please answer." Silence fell over the council chamber. "Show them our fleet," said the usually quiet Counselor Thomas. Walker nodded in agreement. "For 5,000 years, we've built in secret. Our ships have never been tested in real combat, but our simulations suggest we're ready." "Ready for what?" "Galactic war." Martinez shook her head. "We don't even know what we're facing." "Actually, we do," Eleanor said. She displayed images reconstructed from the Ardani data. "The Void Empire has conquered 17 star systems in the past century. Their technology is advanced, but their tactics are predictable. They overwhelm with numbers, not strategy." Walker smiled slightly. "Numbers we can handle. Humanity has been preparing for this moment since the first contact disaster. Our ships are hidden throughout the solar system, ready to launch." The council voted. 7 in favor of intervention, 3 against, 1 abstention. "Then it's decided," said the council president. "Commander Walker, you will lead our response fleet. Dr. Reed, you will join him as our communication specialist. We break our silence today." Within hours, hidden hangars across the solar system opened. Ships that had never seen combat but had been meticulously maintained for centuries powered up their engines. On the flagship Genesis, Commander Walker stood on the bridge, watching as hundreds of Earth vessels assembled in formation beyond Jupiter's orbit, hidden from casual observation. "Send the response message," Walker ordered. Eleanor took a deep breath and activated the transmitter. For the first time in 5,000 years, Earth deliberately sent a signal to the stars. "Ardani friends, this is Earth. We remember the old gifts. We are coming." The fleet engaged their drives, leaving the silent solar system behind. Humanity was silent no more. The Earth fleet emerged from hyperspace at the coordinates the Ardani had provided. 50 ships strong, they formed a protective formation around the flagship Genesis. Commander Walker stood on the bridge, watching the star system come into view. "Scan for Ardani life signs," he ordered. Lieutenant Davis ran the scan. "Sir, I'm detecting a small cluster of ships hiding in the asteroid field. They appear damaged." "Hail them," Walker said. Dr. Reed carefully transmitted their greeting in the Ardani language. For several tense minutes, there was no response. Then the communication screen flickered to life. The alien face that appeared had pale blue skin, large eyes, and delicate features. The Ardani looked exhausted and afraid. "Earth vessels, you came." The translator converted the Ardani's words. "We thought our message was lost." "We received your call," Reed replied. "We remember the old gifts." The Ardani's expression changed to something like hope. "The Void Scouts will return soon. They hunt us. We are the last free colony." Walker stepped forward. "How many of your people remain?" 3,000 on these ships. Millions imprisoned across 17 systems. The Ardani paused. "Your vessels. They are unknown to us." The old records spoke of Earth as primitive. Walker smiled slightly. "We've been busy during our silence." He ordered the fleet to help the Ardani ships reach safety. Engineers boarded to assist with repairs, while medical teams treated the injured. The Ardani were stunned by the advanced technology humanity possessed. "How did you develop so quickly?" asked the Ardani leader, who called himself Trell. 5,000 years of preparation," Walker explained. "After the first contact disaster, Earth went silent. We built, we trained, we prepared for the day we would face the stars again." Alarms blared across the fleet. "Commander," Lieutenant Davis called out, "6 Void Empire scout ships entering the system." Walker didn't hesitate. "Battle stations. Protect the Ardani vessels." The Earth ships moved with precision, forming a defensive screen. The Void Scouts approached, sleek black vessels bristling with weapons. Their communication came through. Translated by Reed Systems. "Unidentified vessels, you harbor fugitives. Surrender or be destroyed." Walker stepped into view of the transmission. "This is Commander James Walker of Earth. The Ardani are under our protection. Leave this system immediately." The Void Commander's metallic voice betrayed no emotion. "Earth? Unknown designation. Prepare to be boarded for inspection." Walker cut the transmission and turned to his tactical officer. "Target their engines only. I want prisoners for questioning." The Earth fleet's response was immediate and overwhelming. Energy weapons that had never before been fired in anger lashed out, disabling 2 void ships instantly. The remaining 4 scattered, trying to regroup. The void vessels fired back, their weapons more powerful than expected. The Earth cruiser Horizon took a direct hit, its shields flaring. "Return fire, all batteries," Walker ordered. Earth's ships attacked with coordinated precision, honed through centuries of simulations. They moved in patterns the Void Empire had never encountered, using tactics developed in isolation. 3 more Void ships were disabled within minutes. The last scout turned to flee. "Let it go," Walker commanded. "We want them to report what they found here." On the bridge of the Genesis, the Ardani leader Trell stared in disbelief at the battle's outcome. 5,000 years of silence," he whispered. "You were not hiding in fear." Walker watched as Earth rescue vessels secured the disabled void ships. "We were not hiding. We were waiting, learning, building." Dr. Reed joined them, her eyes bright with excitement and concern. "We've captured Void Empire technology and personnel. This will help us understand what we're facing." "And they now understand what they're facing," Walker added. "1 scout escaped. The Void Empire will soon learn that Earth is no easy target." Trell bowed his head. "You have saved us, but at what cost? You have revealed yourselves." Walker's face was grim but determined. The war was always coming. "At least now, we fight on our terms." The Earth fleet regrouped, preparing for what would come next. Humanity's long silence was over, and the galaxy would never be the same. News of the battle spread quickly across Earth. For centuries, humanity had built ships, weapons, and defenses in secret. Now those preparations were being put to use. Admiral Thomas Grant stood in Earth's largest shipyard, hidden beneath the Pacific Ocean. Massive manufacturing plants that had operated at minimal capacity for millennia now hummed with activity. Workers moved with purpose as new vessels took shape. "How soon until the next wave is ready?" Grant asked the shipyard director. 3 days, Admiral. We're converting everything to war production." Grant nodded. Earth had maintained a careful balance for thousands of years. advanced enough to defend itself, but appearing silent and primitive to any watching eyes. That deception was over now. The Council wants daily updates, Grant said. The Void Empire will send more than scouts next time. On the flagship Genesis, now stationed near the Ardani colony world, Commander Walker monitored the defensive perimeter. Dr. Reed worked closely with Ardani scholars, trying to understand their ancient connection to humanity. Their records say they visited Earth for nearly 1,000 years, Reed explained during the command briefing. They helped build monuments that still stand today, structures we thought were made by ancient humans alone. Walker studied the star maps showing Void Empire territory. Did they leave anything else behind? Anything that might help us now? Reed hesitated. The Ardani mentioned guardians they left to watch over Earth. They're being cryptic about what that means. Lieutenant Davis interrupted the meeting. Commander, we've detected unusual communication patterns from the Essex. Walker frowned. The Essex was one of their support vessels. What kind of patterns? Brief encoded bursts, sir. Not using our protocols. Walker's expression darkened. Monitor every transmission. Find out who's sending them. 3 days later, a massive Void Empire battle group entered the system. 20 warships, each larger than anything in Earth's fleet. They found us faster than expected, Walker said, watching the tactical display. Everyone to battle stations. The Earth fleet formed a defensive formation around the Ardani colony. Walker noticed the Essex moving slightly out of position. Essex, return to formation, he ordered. There was no response. Instead, the Essex suddenly accelerated toward the main Earth fleet, its weapon systems powering up. The Essex is targeting our ships, Lieutenant Davis shouted. They're firing on the Phoenix. The Phoenix's shields barely absorbed the impact. Walker made a split-second decision. Disable the Essex. Target engines only. 2 Earth cruisers fired precision shots, crippling the Essex's propulsion systems. As security teams prepared to board, the ship self-destructed in a blinding flash. A traitor, Walker said grimly. That's how the Void Empire found us so quickly. There was no time to investigate further. The Void warships launched their attack, hundreds of fighter craft swarming toward the Earth fleet. The battle was unlike anything humanity had trained for. Void fighters moved with unexpected speed, their weapons more powerful than intelligence had suggested. 3 Earth ships fell in the first wave of attacks. Walker adapted quickly. New formation Delta used the asteroid field for cover. Earth's ships regrouped, using the natural terrain of the asteroid belt to break up the Void formation. Walker had studied ancient Earth naval battles during his training. Tactics from a time when humanity fought itself. The Void Empire, used to overwhelming enemies with superior numbers, seemed confused by the unorthodox approach. For 6 hours, the battle raged across the system. Earth vessels struck from hiding, disabled Void ships, then retreated before reinforcements arrived. The Ardani watched in amazement as humanity held its ground against a superior force. But the tide began to turn. The Void commander adapted, splitting his forces to surround the Earth fleet. Walker knew they couldn't hold much longer. Prepare for emergency jump, he ordered. All ships, cover the Ardani evacuation. As the colony ships fled to safety, Walker received a transmission from Earth. Admiral Grant's face appeared on screen. Hold position, Commander. Reinforcements are coming. Earth's war machine is fully awake now. Dr. Eleanor Reed worked frantically in her makeshift lab aboard the Genesis. Around her, the ship trembled as it evaded Void Empire attacks. The reinforcements from Earth had arrived, 30 new vessels that had joined the battle, but they were still outnumbered. Dr. Reed, we need something to turn the tide, Commander Walker said as he entered the lab. His uniform was wrinkled, his face tired from days without proper rest. I think I found it, Eleanor replied, pointing to her screen. The Ardani scholars finally shared their complete historical records with me. Look at these. Walker studied the images, ancient stone structures from Earth, pyramids, temples, and monuments, appeared alongside strange diagrams. "What am I looking at?" he asked. "The gifts the Ardani left weren't just knowledge," Eleanor explained. "They built structures on Earth, structures we've walked past our entire lives without understanding their true purpose." She displayed a 3D model of the Great Pyramid. "This isn't just a tomb. It's a blueprint. The internal chambers form a perfect scale model of a weapon system." Walker's eyes widened. "Are you saying our ancient monuments are weapon designs?" "Not all of them, but enough." Eleanor pulled up more files. The Ardani were master builders, but they were hunted by the Void Empire for their defensive technology. When they visited Earth, they hid their most powerful designs in plain sight, encoded in architecture. Why would they do that? "Insurance," Eleanor said. "They hoped they would never need it, but they left their legacy with us in case the worst happened." A loud explosion rocked the ship. Lieutenant Davis called over the intercom. "Commander, we've lost the horizon. The Void Fleet is pressing their advantage." Walker turned to leave, then paused. "Can you decode these weapon designs?" Eleanor nodded. "I already have." "But Walker, these aren't conventional weapons. The Ardani built devices that could neutralize void technology across entire star systems. That's exactly what we need." "But we don't know the side effects," Eleanor warned. "The Ardani never used these weapons themselves. They feared the consequences." Another explosion hit closer. Alarms blared throughout the ship. "We don't have a choice," Walker decided. "Send the designs to Admiral Grant. Tell him to begin construction immediately." As Walker left the lab, Eleanor transmitted the ancient blueprints to Earth. Her message was simple: the Guardians must wake. Days later, as the battle continued across the star system, Admiral Grant contacted the Genesis. "The first device is ready," he reported. "But our scientists have concerns. The energy requirements are massive, and we can't predict all outcomes." Walker looked out at the battle. 10 more Earth ships had been destroyed. The Ardani colony was barely protected by the remaining fleet. Even with Earth's reinforcements, they were losing ground. "We need to test it," Walker decided. "Sir," Lieutenant Davis interrupted. "Long-range sensors detect a massive void armada entering the sector. At least 100 ships." The bridge fell silent. They couldn't defeat such numbers. "Admiral," Walker said, "deploy the device now." 20 hours later, a small, unmarked Earth ship slipped through the battle. It carried a single device, built according to the ancient Ardani blueprints, hidden within Earth's most famous monument. The ship reached its designated position and activated the device. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, a pulse of energy expanded outward, invisible to the naked eye. Throughout the battlefield, Void Empire ships suddenly lost power. Their weapons went offline, engines failed, and communication systems died. The Earth fleet, untouched by the pulse, pressed their advantage. "It works," Walker said in amazement. "The Ardani gift works." But as they watched, the pulse continued expanding beyond the battlefield. Long-range sensors showed it affecting systems far beyond their target area. "Sir," Lieutenant Davis reported, "the pulse isn't stopping. It's growing stronger." Eleanor looked at the readings in horror. This is why the Ardani never used these weapons. They couldn't control them. Walker's face was grim. "We've won this battle. But at what cost?" The silent pulse continued its journey across the stars. 3 weeks after the deployment of the Ardani device, Commander Walker stood in the war room of a hidden base on an unnamed moon. Maps showing Void Empire territory covered the walls. Many systems were marked with red X's, places where the energy pulse had spread, disabling Void technology. "The good news is we've crippled a third of their fleet," Walker said to the assembled officers. "The bad news is they've adapted faster than we expected." Admiral Grant's hologram nodded. "Their remaining ships have been modified to resist the pulse. They're regrouping for a major offensive." Walker studied the star chart. The Void Empire controlled vast territories, and even with their losses, they still outnumbered Earth's forces. A direct confrontation would be suicide. Then we go back to being silent, Walker decided. We disappear. Lieutenant Davis looked confused. Sir, for 5,000 years, humanity survived by being invisible. We'll use that strategy again. Walker moved pieces on the tactical board. We withdraw our main fleet. Make it look like we're retreating to Earth. And then, Admiral Grant asked, we go silent. Small strike teams, unmarked ships, hit their supply lines, their fuel depots. Never engage directly. Never leave evidence. The plan was set in motion immediately. Earth's fleet appeared to abandon their forward positions, pulling back toward their home system. The Void Empire, eager for revenge, followed. But they found only empty space. Earth's ships had vanished. 3 days later, a Void supply convoy reported being attacked by unknown forces. The next day, a fuel depot exploded without warning. Communication relays failed across 5 systems. Commander Walker led one of the strike teams personally. His small vessel, painted black with no identifying markings, slipped through Void territory undetected. They planted explosive devices on an ammunition depot and disappeared before anyone knew they were there. Back at the hidden base, Dr. Reed continued her work with the Ardani scholars. The initial weapon had proven too powerful, too uncontrollable. They needed something more precise. The problem is in the calibration, explained the Ardani scientist named Trell. Our ancestors built the blueprint, but they never finished the final equations. Eleanor pointed to a section of ancient text. This symbol keeps appearing. What does it mean? Trell studied it. It refers to harmony, balance. The device needs to be in harmony with the natural energy of space. As they worked, reports arrived from across Void territory. Walker's silent campaign was working. The enemy couldn't find their attackers, couldn't predict where they would strike next. But there was a traitor still among them. Someone continued to send encrypted messages to the Void Empire. Walker set a trap. He leaked false information about a major Earth fleet movement to only 3 people. When the Void Empire ships appeared at the location, he knew who had betrayed them. It was never just one person, Walker told his officers after the culprit was arrested. The Void Empire planted sleeper agents on Earth centuries ago, disguised as humans. They've been waiting, watching us develop. This discovery changed everything. How much did the enemy already know about Earth's defenses? How many more traitors remained undetected? Admiral Grant delivered more troubling news. The Void Empire has launched their counteroffensive. 150 ships headed directly for Earth. They'll arrive in 6 days. Walker looked at the battle plans. Earth's defenses were strong, but not strong enough to repel such a force. And their fleet was scattered on guerrilla missions across enemy territory. We need to bring them all back, an officer suggested. No, Walker said. That's exactly what they expect. He studied the map, a plan forming in his mind. We make them think Earth is vulnerable. We let them commit their forces. And then, asked Lieutenant Davis. Walker's face was grim but determined. And then we spring the trap that humanity has been preparing for 5,000 years. The massive Void Empire fleet approached Earth with confidence. Their advanced scouts reported minimal defenses, just a scattered line of orbital platforms and a small group of ships. After weeks of frustrating guerrilla attacks, they had finally cornered their elusive enemy. On the Genesis, now positioned behind Earth's moon, Commander Walker watched the enemy approach. They took the bait, he said quietly. All ships maintain silent running. Wait for my signal. Earth appeared vulnerable, its defenses weak. The Void Armada moved closer, their weapons charging. Their commander transmitted a final message to the planet below. Surrender now, or we will destroy your world as we did the Ardani homeworld. There was no response from Earth. The Void ships closed to attack range, spreading out to surround the planet. In his underground command center, Admiral Grant activated a secure channel. All planetary defense systems, prepare for activation. Authorization code. Silent Earth. Across the globe, hidden installations powered up. Structures that had stood for millennia. Ancient monuments, mountains, and buildings that humans had walked past for thousands of years began to transform. The Great Pyramid's tip glowed with energy. Stonehenge's stones hummed with power. Mountains split open to reveal massive weapon arrays. The true purpose of humanity's 5,000 years of silence was revealed. Now, Walker ordered from the Genesis. From behind the moon, 300 Earth ships appeared, more than anyone, even the United Council, knew existed. Walker had kept them hidden, waiting for this moment. They moved with perfect coordination, cutting off the Void Empire's retreat. Simultaneously, Dr. Reed and Trell activated their perfected version of the Ardani device. Unlike the first attempt, this pulse was precisely calibrated, affecting only Void technology within Earth's orbital zone. The Void ships froze in space, their weapons and engines disabled. On the bridges of these mighty warships, alien commanders stared in disbelief as Earth itself seemed to come alive with defensive systems. "This is Commander James Walker of Earth," Walker transmitted to the trapped fleet. "For 5,000 years, we remained silent. Not out of fear, but preparation." Earth's hidden weapons fired in perfect synchronization. Targeted energy beams struck the Void command ships, disabling them without destruction. Walker had insisted on minimizing casualties. This was to be a defeat, not a slaughter. From the Genesis, Walker watched as Earth's ships surrounded the helpless Void armada. The battle was over before it truly began. In Geneva, the United Council addressed representatives from dozens of alien civilizations who had been quietly contacted during the conflict. Many had suffered under Void Empire rule. "Humanity's silence ends today," the Council President announced. "We offer alliance to all peaceful species. The Void Empire's tyranny is broken." On the Genesis, Dr. Reed showed Walker the final translation of the Ardani records. "They didn't just leave us technology," she explained. "They saw something in humanity. Our adaptability, our determination. They believed we could one day unite the galaxy." Walker looked out at Earth, now visible from the viewport. The ancient structures, humanity's silent guardians, had returned to their dormant state, once again appearing as simple monuments and natural formations. 5,000 years, he said softly. "Our ancestors knew this day would come. Everything, our technology, our tactics, even our architecture, was prepared for this moment." Lieutenant Davis joined them. "The Ardani refugees are returning to their colonies. With the Void Empire defeated, other species are declaring independence across the galaxy." "And humanity?" asked Walker. "What do we do now?" "We're silent no more," Reed replied. "The galaxy will know us now, not as conquerors, but as protectors." As the Genesis turned toward the stars, Walker thought about the long silence that had defined humanity for 50 centuries. That chapter of human history was closed. A new one, louder, brighter, and full of new voices, was just beginning. Humanity stepped onto the galactic stage, transformed by war, but never defined by it, ready to speak after 5,000 years of careful silence.